Okay, so now I can share everything. Just give me a second for that. And of course, there's a million lags. Hello? What do I have to do? Can I do this now? Thank you. I'm just gonna copy link because this is just too much. Okay, so let me just do this fun stuff. Let me post it everywhere in one more spot, and then I'm done. Sorry guys, but technology, yay, right? Are you gonna go, yes or no? Okay, let me make sure I still have sound and everything. Sorry guys. Okay, it's a lag, but whatever, it's going. Okay, so subjects. My brain's fried, but whatever. Okay, move. So as you may see, there's boxes and everything, and we basically, if you follow me on social media, and please do, I have my links all over, and I appreciate those who voted saying don't put makeup on, like, because of stress and everything. I had some breakouts. It happens ever so often. Like the one on my neck since I was, what, like, God, I don't remember how old I was when we first went to Disney World. I don't know, years ago. Like, has never cleared up. I never had a good dermatologist for it. And whatever it is, it must have been the wrong thing. Okay, I normally have to go on a steroids cream, but a pill would probably help. Let me move this a bit. Like, I have the situation everything. I could barely talk. Like, I've been through so much stuff. And also, it turns out I probably have, St. Clair's, if you read the review, and I left a bad review, 1 star. It was terrible. I probably have a bruise on my brain. And I definitely noticed I've been having trouble talking a little bit more and stuff. My fall was bad. But I don't want to get into that yet. That's going to be subject for a little later. But basically, we have a very, very narrow area that we want to move to. When you do not have a car, everything has to be very specific. When we first moved here, there were buses that could take us to point A to point B, blah, 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 the train, everything. And they cut them, and I think I discussed that in my other channel that people decided I shouldn't have. Kudos to you. And then I think I discussed it in my last one. They cut a lot of buses. And for the Port Authority to decide that when they don't even take buses is beyond me, but that's them. So we're moving to an area where no buses, we can get around. And it's very, very specific. So when something opens up that we like, we're jumping on it. And the reason we need it to also be a lower level, unless we get very desperate, is because I have fibromyalgia, sciatica, arthritis. Even if I wasn't plus size, taking groceries up the stairs in a little, some people call it a granny wagon or the little buggy, whatever, would be really hard. And my mom is a senior citizen. And even if she was living by herself, which at some point she might be living by herself, it would be hard taking it up all those stairs on an upper level. So we're going for a lower level. So things are very specific. So far we made offers on 2 places, and we got close, no cigar. I'm not saying how we're paying or anything, just know we're in a good place. And we're lucky to have a home. And so, you know, it's very competitive where we want to move. And when we were told, at least this time, because the seller agent was very nice, that we were in second place, they really liked that the people who got the place were going to pay 2 months rent in advance or something like that. I don't know. It made no sense. Let's just say we would have put them in a better position, but that's okay. That's up to them. It's up to the people who are accepting the offer. They also don't have a place to move to yet, so maybe they wanted more time, and we could have negotiated, but that's how things go. But I really like the place we're moving to, and it's worth the wait. But I also want to get the hell out of here. I mean, it's very hard to meet people. You really need a car, especially now that they cut everything. And people who have cars, you know, just really aren't willing to come to you unless it's for something specific. And I'm not looking to hook up with anyone. Let's put it that way. So moving on. Let's see what I want to talk about. Okay, it's a subject that you guys may or may not like that much, but I want to get into it. Because it's a subject that made me really depressed and really upset. And I was being extremely hard on myself. Like, really, really hard on myself. And I shouldn't have. And I really should love myself better. And like I posted, it takes 2 to have a fight, not 1. And I don't want to go into everything I said in the past. I just want to go kind of into stuff that's realistic. And we all have to be realistic now, no matter how old someone is. You know, people have to take responsibility for their actions as well. And I took enough responsibilities for my actions, really enough. And I can't feel guilty anymore about everything all the time. And, you know, one of the things, and I'll say his name because that's his name, Alex said is, oh, it stems from your father's abuse. Yes, there's a lot that he did that was very similar, but there's a lot that he did that was very different. And it's extremely painful stuff that he refuses to take responsibility for. And honestly, I think him cutting me out of his life is probably the best thing for me. And I don't think we should ever talk again. And I don't think I should ever be in his life again. And I honestly think for other people's mental health and safety, because I think in person, I think this is true. I mean, for everything I said where, you know, he doesn't want to admit that he has issues. And he said that, I'm not going to get too much into it, but at some point someone declared he's fine. And when you're yelling and everything, and you're saying you had to, it snaps you out of whatever, that's abusive. And, you know, straightforward, a lot of things he did and probably still does is very abusive. And that's a scary situation. To know that there's someone out there that thinks things like that is okay is upsetting. And even when he tells me these violent personas that he has, Mr. Smiles or whatever, and the Dark Entity are personas of him, and he probably has other violent personas. And it's one thing if you're writing and you're imaginative and you're writing an evil character, and yes, we know sometimes when people are writing dark characters, sometimes deep down they have a little bit of nightmares or whatever. I mean, think of Stephen King, or R.L. Stein, J.K. Rowling. It comes from somewhere. But when he's saying these are personas of mine, and they're very violent and stuff, to me, from what he's been through in his past, and then to constantly say, oh, it's because of you, blah, 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 blah. It's not. And he uses it as an excuse. And for his mother and him to be so in denial of his actions and his behavior, one, his mom should be supervising what he does online. And even for him to want to make something so violent based on a persona that he sees himself, and it's how he sees himself as well, and how he snaps at people, including, if you look, his friends, he yells at, he tries to control, he says, don't do this, delete that, do blah, 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 blah. That need for control is a big reason why I feel he definitely needs a therapist and psychiatrist, if not more than that. And, he constantly feels it's me saying, it's because of our fights. It's, even if I didn't know him and I saw this now 19-year-old, but even back when he was 17, putting up videos of fights he's having with people, fighting with people he does not know. And that's something I don't even do. And I have my moments where I get really angry and really upset. And I only push back, which is something I tell him. And he goes, well, I did nothing to you. But you put me in over 2 years worth of pure trauma and upset. And you're just in denial of it, okay. And you're also refusing to get rid of people in your life who continuously will cause me more trauma, who are still linked to you. Whether you like it or not, they are linked to you, and you're refusing to unlink yourself, which tells me something. All these things are very big red flags. And yes, it's going to take me a very long time to get over it. But right now I'm not crying. And the reason is because, not only am I trying to get over things myself, but I have a therapist and I have a psychiatrist, and I do a lot of inner talking with myself. And inner talking is something a therapist and a psychiatrist teach you. It's how to try to keep yourself calm. He used to get even irritated at me that I could calm myself down and then talk to him friendly when he's still really angry. And he could be very angry for days, weeks. And holding on to a grudge for that long, where he would say, yes, I let things go, and I can tell you haven't, is very big red flags. And if you want to keep that to yourself and be angry with yourself, that's one thing. When you're letting other people into your life, especially he plans to have children, that's where it concerns me. And if you're he's straight, so he's going to date just women. If it's a woman that's in an abusive situation, that's her choice, and there's not much I could do about it. What upsets me is the children they plan to have. I don't want them in the same situation I was in and my mother was in. And that's where it bothers me. If his mother wants to stay in denial about how her children behave and act, that's on her. As soon as he has children, as soon as his sister has children, that's when it bothers me. Because as someone who has worked with children, as someone who had to have deep discussions and went to college and is actually, I have paperwork that says I'm a child care provider specialist, and had to have deep discussions and everything with professors dealing with child behavior, and worked with children who had abusive parents, and dealt with abusive family members myself. That's when it bothers me. You know, I mean, obviously I feel bad for whoever he dates, because he definitely love bombs and he gaslights and all these things to try to flip the table. And that's, you know, a situation that's also sad. But once you involve children and his niece and nephew who are still children, it bothers me. And it's a serious situation. Now, I'm not saying the things I did was good, but at least I take responsibility for it. When you're in so much denial that you only say I did things in the past and blah, 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 it's really not true or fair. And because I wasn't able to properly heal, flare-ups could still happen, and that's really just kind of too bad. You know, when you're dealing with someone with mental health issues, and that's something he brought up too, saying you have no right to diagnose me. I'm not diagnosing you. That's something for a therapist and a psychiatrist, and for you to be tested. But I guarantee you, if he did get tested, they would find many issues wrong. You know, but the reason I can tell that there are issues is I've been around many people, including myself, who has issues, but I admit to them. And he's not willing to admit to himself he has issues. I mean, it's like all the words I posted that people said, yeah, these are problems, is when he said, you made me do it, I had to, look what you made me do. All words that abusive husbands say when they literally hit their wives, or yell at their wives, or whatever. You know, these are all problems. Even the company he keeps are all problems. The fact that he says to me, I know they're all immature, I know they're all horrible, you know, literally saying to me horrible people, then why are they in your lives? You know, it's all a giant red flag. And the fact that he's aware of these things and chooses to do nothing, you need help. And he's not willing to get it. And he could be angry at this video or not watch this video. I really don't care. But I have a right. The reason I have a right to talk about this and say his name and do whatever I want with his name is things have happened. And I could talk about it all I want. And I could post about it all I want and have every right to do whatever I want. And, you know, it's like I said when I was first talking about writing my book, is my book has, and in real, you know, just posting about it, if you didn't want to be a part of it, you shouldn't have done anything in the first place. And all that's true. You know, it's just like I'm hoping to write the third book where I'm going to want lawyers, because I'm going to use people's real legal names and call people out on what real events happened. And do whatever I have to do. And I'm hoping to get to that third book because, people can hide behind their lies, but the more you lie, the more you have to lie to yourself, and the more you have to add to those lies. And some people do believe their lies, but whose story has changed and whose story has never changed? And like he always says, exactly. So, it's something that will be on my mind. And unlike Craig, like I posted, who eventually did see the error of his ways, and we both apologized to each other. And, ever so often I think about it and I'm in pain and it goes away. Unlike Alex, who is in denial and doesn't want to do anything about it. And that's his choice, to do nothing about it. And he thinks he's helped me when he would have what he calls talks. And he basically made the situation worse and doesn't see it that way. And that's a problem. And I think a lot of it has to do with his age and who he keeps as company. Obviously, a lot has to do with his parents. I mean, it's a matter of nature versus nurture. And a lot of people pick up traits from their parents. And at the same time, just like my mom says, you have a choice to be different. And who knows how his parents really are? Well, his stepdad now, but obviously a lot of his DNA comes from his father. And his father was terrorizing. And my father was terrorizing, and I know I have a lot of his DNA, but I choose to be nothing like him. And my sister, on the other hand, is a lot like him in many ways. And that's her choice, including isolation and severe depression where she's in denial about it. And I feel like Alex is the same way. Severe depression where he chooses to do nothing about it. And that's his choice. And he has every right to have that choice. But then it's on him when, anything happens. And I'm sure I won't be the last person who gets affected by his behavior. I'm sure I wasn't the first. My guess is his excuses about what his exes say about him are in his head. Just like a lot of what happened between me and him is in his head. And, he really needs help. So moving on from that subject, what do we got? The fall. So I'm going to need a little bit of seltzer first. So basically, as also something he pointed out, you've been sick a lot. And he seems to forget that for, God, I don't remember, a few years now, I would say since I was a kid, actually, and this might have a lot to do with the conditions I lived in with my father, and I have a low immune system. I used to get sick a lot, where I missed a lot of school, and it might have been due to high anxiety, it might have been due to my low immune system, or a mix of both. My teacher said if I wasn't such a good student, they would have flunked me. And I get still sick a lot. And we're talking like not holding food down a lot. And so, also due to really bad pain, like really bad sinuses, where I went to ears, nose, and throat, and they saw nothing. So I got MRIs, blood tests, CT scans, ultrasounds. If they had a test for it, I had it done over the course of when all of this was going on, actually. And I told him he forgot. But it doesn't matter. I had so many tests done, to the point of full body scan, with contrast. And and even that thing with my liver, like everything, and they still could find nothing. And, my fear has always been, because cancer is kind of big in my family, my fear has always been that at some point they might find cancer, but so far, nothing. But I was really sick again before we went food shopping, like really, really sick. And I don't, for those who don't know, because we don't have a car, we get like a kind of large amount of groceries once a month, and then a little bit during the month. And I needed body wash, and I thought I got body wash, but because I was so sick, I got lotion. And so when I was washing with what I thought was body wash, and it sud up, it did make suds. I tripped in the tub, fell. I hit the thing you use to turn on the hot water straight on the back of my head, and then fell to the side and hit the side of my head really bad, and then I must have blacked out or whatever. I don't know what happened, because I obviously hit the front, because that's where the majority of the bruises is. I also must have hit the sides. I don't even know. Like I said, I must have blacked out for even a few seconds. And I was checked out a little bit briefly, but I don't know, like, I didn't want to go to the hospital or anything, and I should have. And I really should have went that day to the hospital, but I didn't want to. I was like overly upset about everything, and I didn't want to go anywhere. And then 5 days later, I said, this headache and all my pain is just not going away. And so I went to the hospital, and they did multiple CT scans, and for some reason said I can't have water, even though for 5 days I was drinking water fine. They wouldn't let me eat or anything. And about other stuff. I'm not getting into that. I'm just not. They didn't even register me until pretty much when I was about to leave. They didn't put me in a room, even though there was an empty one right across from me. Probably because they didn't register me. And, it was just miserable. The whole experience was miserable. And I was there from, what was it, like 11 or something to nearly 6. And most of it was just waiting to be seen by anyone. And what was really messed up is you could hear the nurses. I was right next to the nurses talking shit about patients. Yesterday, I then finally did a review on them. And when I was looking at other reviews, I actually saw a bunch of them where they posted that the nurses, this seems to be a common thing, talk shit about patients, and I mean, you would think they would learn after the reviews that maybe keep your mouth shut, but they don't care. So I'm still dealing with that. The bruises and stuff are getting better. My pain is still pretty bad. I try not to take a lot of pain medicine all the time, especially I've been taking it at night so I sleep. But it's been bad. My doctor also is really bad. I didn't think I would miss my old doctor, who I really didn't like that office as much as this one's worse. So I'm really looking forward to moving just to get a new doctor. There's no point to finding a new one now. But I was supposed to get 100 milligrams of gabapentin. I got my 800 milligrams. I take a lot for fibromyalgia and stuff. And I take the 100 milligrams only at night. And they didn't do it. My doctor messed up. And so I was told they did it or whatever. And the mail-in service, and it happens to be the same one Mark is on, CVS Caremark. Which is kind of funny. It made me laugh when he complained about it, because they are really bad. I was told filled it, and that's why the other one that would get it to me sooner, that I had to pay for to get it to me sooner, because I needed a week's worth at least. And it wasn't too bad. I had to pay out of pocket, and it wasn't too bad. They sent me the 800 milligram again. So I have a lot of that, but I still need the 100 milligrams. So, and that office has been awful, just really awful. And of course, they're St. Clair's PCP. So I can't stand them. Let's see. Let me talk about, okay, the dog, and then I'll talk about like some more. So, I think a lot of my depression also has been, it's been so long since we had a furry friend in the house. And I've been watching some dog videos and stuff, cat videos to cheer myself up. Sorry I'm like so itchy and stuff, but, like I said, there's been like breakouts and stuff. I could break out, honestly, for any reason. I think it's called eczema. I know it's not the cancer, so, but, and that's what's here. I have some here and behind my ears and on my neck. And a little on my hand, but not that much. And basically, you could break out for any reason. Too hot, too cold, and emotional. And I haven't broken out in a long time, but obviously I was doing really, really bad lately, so I would assume it was actually more over emotional than anything else. So I need to get to that dermatologist on the 23rd, yay. Because only a steroids cream or a pill would help clear it up. And anyone who's had the condition knows how damn uncomfortable it is. It's really, really uncomfortable. It's like worse than the worst sunburn you've ever had. So anyway, I know when we're moving and everything settles down, and maybe a vacation before a dog, because who wants to get a dog and then go, you're not going to leave it. That's, especially we're going shelter. We're definitely going shelter. We looked into a few really credible shelters. We're maybe going to get, like, maybe not a puppy this time. We'll see, because Kent was a Havanese, and they're very easy to train. They basically train themselves. And when it comes to shelter puppies, it might be a little harder. We don't know. I mean, it doesn't matter too much. I actually, one time, this kid was walking this massive, massive dog. I don't remember. I think it was like a Doberman Shepherd. You know, it might have been a mix with a black lab. It was big, too big for this kid by himself. The kid had to be at least like 11, 12. And it was a real little kid. Like, he definitely couldn't handle the dog. And the dog tried to go after Kent. Now, Kent, again, real little dog. And, you know, I used to watch some Caesar Milan and stuff until I got annoyed. I can't watch the same kind of repeated show over and over again like that. But I did learn. And so no one goes after my little baby. And that dog could definitely kill Kent. So I went, you know, the thing to the dog. And I got the dog to actually submit to me. And that made me pretty happy. Because I thought, when I went to my high school, at first I wanted to be a vet tech, and then I said I would be doing a disservice to the animals because I got a little scared of bigger dogs, and I said if I can't handle big dogs, I shouldn't be working with animals. And it was an agriculture school, so it was either animals or plants. So I said, okay, I could arrange flowers, maybe I'll do that. And I was really good at arranging flowers. I said I could be a botanist, or herbargery, or something like that, you know. And then I ended up, because my teachers were so sweet, and they said, you know, we see you with, you know, whenever we would do field trips or whatever, you know, they said and also because I love to learn and I would do stuff above whatever we were doing, they said, I bet we think we would be a good teacher, and they put me in a thing where only one student would be granted this. And if it wasn't for my fear of transportation, I would have taken it. And I felt like I let my teacher down, my grade advisor down. She happened to be also my grade advisor. By not doing it, but I panicked so much with public transportation, so I didn't do it, especially it was New York, and I just felt so scared to be going by myself. I think it involved the F train also, which is one of the worst trains you could take. I don't know if it changed since then, but my guess is no. But I was honored to be picked out of all the students who graduated that year. So that meant a lot to me. And I would be basically on the course to being a teacher, an educator. And I would have been pretty good at it, you know. I think if it wasn't for my high anxiety, which is one of the reasons that stopped me, and that's one of the reasons I took a speech class when I was in liberal arts, is to try to get over that fear of talking publicly. And I did pretty well. You know, she could see I had a fear of public speaking, but I was trying to get over it. But you know, then 9/11, blah, blah, blah. I think I talked about 9/11 and my college experience enough. But as far as getting a dog and everything, is I had a few therapists say that if Kent was up to the train, you know, they have to take a brief training course to get approved to be an actual real therapy dog. You know, there's a lot of people who put the vest on and say they're a therapy dog. You need actual paperwork, and you have to have it on you all the time. And unfortunately, Kent had issues with people. He loved other dogs. He actually loved bigger dogs a little bit better than smaller dogs sometimes. He was really sweet with other dogs, and he was okay with people, but it depends on the people, you know. So our shelter dog we already discussed, because I know I need it, especially with everything that's going on. We're going to get certified with my therapist, with the training that they need to be a certified therapy dog, because I know I need it. It will help me open up to people and talk to people. And then they could basically go anywhere, including flying with us. There's some places I don't want to bring the dog. I think it will make the dog, I don't want to bring the dog everywhere. Like, I probably won't bring the dog to things that I know the dog will be sitting for hours. I don't want to do that. I'm also, obviously, the whole point of being able to get around without a car where we're moving to, I'm planning to, when I talk to people, I'm usually the one who starts the conversation when it comes to in person. I feel so much better talking to people in person than I do online. I definitely don't really like it over the phone so much, but in person I could go on and on. And I noticed, because people are so antisocial now because of technology, there's a lot of people who really do not know how to communicate in person. I have to look at the time. Okay, good. Who don't really know how to communicate in person, that, they don't know how to respond back anymore. So I'm hoping to not only make friends in person, but more than friends would be nice. And having a dog as an icebreaker really helps. Having a dog with you, unless they're highly allergic, but having a dog with you will really help me build confidence, have something to talk about, and, it's nice having your buddy with you. Especially because he's a service dog, can come with me anywhere I want. And I think that will really be nice and really help me get back in the swing of things, because it's been so long. Like, back in New York, not only could you get anywhere, but I had people in my life. And here in Pittsburgh, it's near impossible. I really did try. I mean, I went to meetups and everything, but, I don't know. It's just a different vibe here. And like, even when I go out and talk in the grocery stores and stuff to people, they just kind of keep their nose down and stuff. New York was really friendly. Let's just keep it that way. So I'm really looking forward to the move for so many reasons. And getting a dog, I think it's going to really help me in so many ways. So I'm so looking forward to that. And I'm looking forward to having a different kind of routine in my life that is steady and every day. But not only that, but because I know I'll be working from home, it's also my own set schedule. And, sure, I'll be given deadlines and maybe even pushy clients. But there'll be clients, and some clients won't be that friendly, and I'll just have to get used to that. And it doesn't hurt to have a dog to help calm me down from that instead of getting super angry. When your boss or whatever gets super angry or pushy, or, I have it now where people might constantly look at you or ask you if you finished something. That's life. Especially when you're working. My mom told me horror stories of when she was working, and that's having a real job. And so, you go with the flow, you make the best of it, and as long as you're doing what you actually love doing, work isn't work, work is enjoyment. And I really like doing digital design. I really like editing, which I hope to be able to do as a side business, and then maybe become something real. And those are things I really enjoy, including doing YouTube. I find fun when I'm not miserable. So, that's what I really hope the future for me is. And I have to make it happen. And that's key, is making things happen. And, be it highs or low, that's just life. And I'm happy, even though my therapist keeps canceling on me, I'm happy to at least have one. And I like the people, I love the people in my life, because at least I have people who say, come talk to me. Because talking to people about what's going on in your life is key, and it's good to vent. And if I didn't have people to vent to, I would be a lot worse off. So I really do love you all, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. And thank you so much for watching. And until next time, bye.